The very best companies run on rails with like lockdown systems, but the notion of doing that in an accounting firm is tricky because everybody seems to be coming to you with like different things they want you to do. And when you have a growing team of accountants that are all doing that work, they're inherently just going to do it in different ways, right? Like absent specific instruction, they're all gonna find their own way to solve the problem. And we all know we need to be building systems and standard operating procedures and all that, but like, how do we do that? What is a good version of it? And how do we set up rules in our firm to ensure they're being created and being maintained? That is what we're talking about today. So let's start with 5 tips on the right way to build SOPs. Number 1, buddy, it is high time to ditch that 3-ring binder. Ditch the Word doc with the screenshots and the janky text and the arrows and all that. We've got really good tools these days to build out SOPs that make that process super easy. If you're looking at video tools that'll make your life easier here, Loom's probably the best one, where it like records your screen. That's the one with the little talking head bubble. Makes it super trivial to record something on your screen and then just share a link of that video. That is for video guides. For text explainers, we've got a growing number of these tools as well. My favorite right now is Scribe. It's one we're actually gonna look at today. Basically, you hit record and it captures all the clicks and everything you type in. Then when you're done, it gives you a nice little guide with like screenshots of everything you clicked, and it does a whole bunch of that heavy lifting for you. It's a huge time saver, and actually the whole second half of this video is gonna be us building out an SOP live to have an example of like the right way to do it. Okay, number 2, we're gonna make those SOPs client agnostic. If somebody's gonna go through the work of building an SOP, don't make it specific to a client, please. The place to start is in like the common things that we do for a bunch of clients. So if you do this service for 30 clients, build an SOP for that service. Please don't build that SOP specific to the client. We wanna prioritize the ones that are most relevant to most of the work that we do. That way, that one SOP impacts 30 clients. Was that the number I said? 30? Whatever it was, instead of just the one client. Number 3, and this may be the best tip, just start. Stop making excuses. Just make more SOPs. In fact, the more you make, the better they'll be. You're not just gonna like sit here and plan yourself into oblivion and then come out on the other side with your first SOP being incredible. You just gotta start doing it and figure out what works and what doesn't work for your firm. And if you are the big boss or a manager, somebody that just can't find the time to do this, get help.
Get some help.
The next time you're gonna do that process that needs to be documented, record it, and then send that recording to a member of your team that can draft the documentation. That'll save you a whole pile of time because now you can just review what they drafted rather than build it yourself from scratch. And what you may find is what I found in my firm. We had a couple people that were actually really good at building documentation, like better than the rest of the team, and they enjoyed it. So we could have somebody that maybe wouldn't take the time to do this, record what they're doing, have one of those people put together did the documentation, and then that busy person's gonna review it, make any changes they need to, and then sign off. Number 4, SOPs are useless unless there is some sort of accountability being enforced for folks to keep them up to date. It is one thing to bring an SOP into this world. It is a whole other thing to raise it, to get up in the middle of the night with it when it's out of date, to fight over it with your colleagues when you don't agree on how to maintain it or whether that one's college material. In my opinion, 2 things need to happen with all your SOPs. 1, somebody has to review everybody's SOPs from time to time to ensure that they are up to date. And I don't even like scheduling this. My favorite approach here is more like a secret shopper kind of thing, where a file could get pulled and a member of your team goes through that person's SOPs. Could I actually do the work with these SOPs or not? Like, are they up to date? And then second, like this has to be tied to how they are incentivized, like your reviews, how you're compensated. SOPs have to be part of the job. The reason people don't do them is it's not part of their job. Which leads to number 5, we have to create the capacity for folks to be able to actually do this well. Because the reason that we never do is we're doing something else. So by making it part of the job, but also ensuring people have the time to do it, building it into like their review, one of multiple factors that their performance is assessed on, right? It's gonna mean not running at 100% capacity so that we can factor in this additional time to build SOPs. But the funny thing about 100% capacity is it is never the highest output approach. Funny how that works, right? Being at 100% or 120%, that feels like what's gonna get the most work done, but it's not like that. That's an oof for another day. We don't need to get into that. Okay, let's build an actual SOP with one of my favorite tools. But first, I'm gonna show you how to pull work papers from a QuickBooks file in record time with today's sponsor, LiveFlow. Roll the music, buddy. Okay, look to your left, look to your right. It's the 3rd of the month. We're pulling bank statements, payroll journals, but the financials and ledger detail from that accounting file? Please stop marking up your stanky old PDFs for that. What if, with the click of a button, we could pull all those financial reports we want into a single workbook? I said with the click of a button. Nope. Yes, huh? No. Let me show you. All right, I'm in Excel now, but you can do the same thing with Google Sheets. I got a button right here that'll pull in any data from my client's QuickBooks file. Do you have this button? You don't have this. Oh my gosh. You kiss your mother with that mouth? Okay, I'm gonna open this up and build out this work paper template for the month-end close. I'll create a bunch of receipts that are all the reports that I want. So for example, we can start with a P&L that's like the trailing 3 months. Cash basis, create the report. Here we go, last 3 months, profit and loss tab. Talk amongst yourselves, I'm gonna add some other reports. Okay, look on the bottom here. I got a balance sheet, P&L, and G&L. Buddy, I could run all sorts of reports, all the greatest hits from QuickBooks in here if I wanted. I can export all this stuff if I want. I can actually set it to continue updating. I think in this case, I probably wouldn't want that. Build this out to be as many sheets as I want, but then check this out. I come back over here to manage reports. I'm now managing the 3 reports that I've created. I can click this little guy. Watch this, incoming boop. Boop. Oh, there's another one. Boop. Loading. It just changed the company. Not just for this sheet, it changed the company for the whole workbook. That was 1 click, that was 2 clicks. It wasn't very many clicks. We just changed the entire report package for the company. Think about how much time that could save you across all of your month-end closes. All thanks to LiveFlow, the wee little button that connects all your QuickBooks files to a spreadsheet. Learn more, check out a link in the show notes. Okay, back to SOP building. We're gonna make an SOP for something simple. Let's say we're closing out Q2 in the books. Clients will send us receipts sporadically throughout the months. And as we're closing the books, we will match those receipts to transactions and then ask clients for receipts of any, transactions over some amount threshold that we don't have. So let's make a super clear SOP for how to do that receipt review process. So how are you gonna do this? A video, right? Record a loom? Wrong. We are gonna make a text guide with Scribe. And here's my take on video versus text. If I make a video for this process right now, it's really helpful for the person the first time they watch it through. But every single time after that, I would argue it's actually annoying, like having to scrub through to find that specific part that you want. And then if anything changes down the road, changing part of a video is way harder than changing part of a text guide. So if I'm only making one, buddy, I'm making a text guide. And my favorite tool for this right now is Scribe. So Scribe's a web app with a Chrome extension. They also have a desktop app if you wanted to record the things you're clicking on your desktop. But today, everything I'm using is in the web. So I just hit the Chrome extension here and say record. Then I'm just walking through the steps. Basically, I'm gonna go out to the client's wherever they keep their receipts. Let's say it's Google Drive for illustration purposes. Could be their client portal. I'm gonna download all those receipts. I'm gonna come over here to QuickBooks. By the way, Scribe is recording all this stuff as I do it. I'm gonna come over to QuickBooks, chuck the receipts in there for processing, match those receipts that find a transaction. I'm gonna run another report, a transaction list by vendor, set the date range, and I'm gonna filter this just for expense transaction types that are over $100. I got 2 results here. Looks like one of them I have, one of them I don't. And then I will email the client using a specific template, asking both about receipts that I got that I didn't have a transaction for. So maybe they like paid for a business thing out of a personal account. And then I'm also gonna ask them for any expenses over $100 that I didn't get a receipt for. So in the Chrome extension here, I'm gonna hit stop. And now what it's gonna give me is this giant list of everything that I just clicked on and typed. And some of the stuff I will want to keep in the SOP, but a lot of the stuff I won't. So for example, this I can delete. Give me a minute here, I'll clean this stuff up. You can see I can add header sections. Now here's the tidied up version. How great does that look? The screenshots, like the nice formatting. I changed the text so it made more sense. I come up here, I can share this with my bookkeeping team. So they can link to it, but they can only link to it if they're users inside that bookkeeping team space. Super cool, man. That's why I like Scribe. It makes that stuff as easy as possible. Now, I would super encourage you to share this with your team to drive a practical conversation about how to build better SOPs. In fact, I'm actually hearing from a growing number of firms, they will like watch a video together in a meeting to then try to make it actionable. And with that in mind, I actually put together like a meeting agenda that you can swipe and use just for this. That'll give you some talking points to run through with your team. So taking a look at this agenda, and what format should our SOPs be created? What does a good one look like? You need to decide that for your firm. What is our SOP tech stack? How are videos captured? And how are text SOPs captured? I'll put a link to Loom and Scribe in the video description. What type of SOPs are highest priority to develop and maintain today? You gotta start somewhere. What are the hottest ones? Who owns each type of SOP in the firm? Are they at the service level or are they at the client level? What does ongoing maintenance look like? When should SOPs be reviewed? And how will we hold each other accountable? Who will review them? And how are SOPs selected for review? Great thing to talk through with your team. And if you are a firm that feels like you do this well, if such a firm does exist, man, drop some knowledge in the comments. It would be great to hear from you, because I think most of us do this really, really poorly, but we know that we need to do it better. Now, if you missed last week, we built a big old resource for how to build out a more explicit yet flexible service library for your firm to build kind of a internal vernacular around what are all the different things that we do for our clients, with the big goal of actually getting away from having to create SOPs at the client level and instead create them all at the service level, because you're gonna have 100 times as many clients as you are services. So that video last week is like peanut butter and jelly with this one. Check it out if you haven't yet. Now go out and make a rad SOP. You can do it.